Let's talk about a quiet threat that has become a massive, multi-million-dollar problem for businesses everywhere. Business email compromise. It's the kind of crime that leads to these huge legal messes and brings up a really tough question. When a scam like this works, who's actually on the hook? We're going to break down how this whole thing works and, more importantly, how you can actually protect yourself.
I know, it sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But this is a terrifying reality for companies every single day. And we're not talking about some huge complex hack or a crazy virus. Nope. It usually starts with just one email. One seemingly normal email that lands in an inbox and has the power to bring an entire company to its knees.
So, what is business email compromise really? Well, at its heart, it's a super sophisticated game of digital dress-up. A cybercriminal finds a way into a real email account, and then they just become that person. They pretend to be a CEO, a trusted supplier, you name it. And their whole goal is to trick someone, anyone, into sending them money. It's basically a high-stakes con game played over email.
Okay, so you might be thinking, come on, I'd totally spot that. But that's the thing. The real danger of business email compromise is how simple, how normal it all looks. Let's really get into how these attacks actually play out.
This right here is the secret sauce. It's what makes the scam so brilliant, psychologically speaking. A BEC attack doesn't use brute force to break in. It politely asks an employee to hold the door open for them. The person who falls for it genuinely believes they're just doing their job. Paying an invoice, moving money for the boss. They willingly authorize the payment, which makes it incredibly hard for normal security software to catch. So here's how it usually goes down, in 4 basic steps. First, the criminals get in. They find a way to access an email account, and they do it quietly. Then they watch, they learn, they get ready to impersonate someone. The lure is the key moment. They send an email that feels urgent, something like, "This invoice is overdue, pay it now." And finally, the action. An employee, just trying to be efficient, sends the money straight into the criminal's bank account.
And this brings us to the most crucial point of all. The weakest link in the chain here isn't your firewall. It's not your antivirus software, it's us. It's human nature. These scams, these phishing expeditions, they work because people are busy. We want to be helpful, and most of the time, we just haven't been trained to spot the tiny little red flags in an email that just seems a little bit off.
So what happens when one of these attacks actually succeeds? Well, the damage goes way, way beyond that first chunk of money. The true costs can be absolutely catastrophic for a business.
First, let's just talk about the money. The average financial hit from just one of these scams is a jaw-dropping $4.88 million. Think about that. For a lot of businesses, a hit like that isn't just a bad day, it's game over. And believe it or not, that's just the direct financial loss.
Yeah, that initial loss, it's just the first domino. After the money's gone, companies face a whole storm of other problems. You got possible fines for data breaches. You could lose secret company information. And then there are the huge costs for lawyers and investigators. But the biggest killer of all? Your reputation. Once customers lose trust in you, they walk, and that can sink a company for good.
It's a pretty scary picture, I know. But here's the good news. You are not helpless here. There are very real, very concrete steps that any company can take to build a seriously powerful defense against these attacks.
And here's why you have to take action. You really can't count on the legal system to save you after the fact. The law is still playing catch-up, trying to figure out who's truly liable in these situations, and you cannot afford to wait for them to decide. The only real protection is the one you build for yourself, starting right now. So, what does a strong defense look like? Well, it's built on 4 key pillars. First, regular ongoing training for your staff. These criminals are always changing their game, so your team has to stay ahead of them. Second, you have to use multi-factor authentication, or MFA. Just think of it like a digital double check. Even if they steal your password, they can't get in. Third, get serious about your payment rules. No big transfer should ever be approved by just one person. Ever. And finally, use smart email security tools that can catch these nasty emails before they even have a chance to tempt someone.
And look, this isn't just a theory. As Cybersecurity CEO Sharon Knowles puts it here, businesses are finally waking up to this. They're actively looking for experts to help train their teams and build these kinds of defenses. This is what it takes to stay safe in today's world.
So let's bring this all home. We started out asking who's to blame when a BEC attack happens. But you know what? Maybe that's not even the right question to be asking.
At the end of the day, this is what it all boils down to. Instead of worrying about who to point the finger at after a disaster, the real focus, the real responsibility is in getting ready before one ever happens. So you have to ask yourself, are my people trained? Are our rules airtight? Is my business ready for when, not if, someone tries this on us? Because in cybersecurity, being prepared is the only thing that really counts.